as someone who was blessed enough to have a Wii growing up, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. This might be up there as one of the greatest consoles of all time. This shit was so versatile that anyone could play it, bro. You had games where you had to move your body so you could lose weight. There were games that would challenge your brain and make you think hard, which ultimately made you a smarter person in the future. And then there were just games where you're just doing a bunch of shit to pass the time. There was a category for everyone, fam. Games were such a vital part of growing up. Whether that be your first console was a DS, PlayStation, Xbox, your mom's phone, or even your Elite Pad, they were all fire, fam. We can all agree that games were something we all enjoyed and found mad fun. Like when I was in school, people would really be out here lying to their parents that they're sick just so they could play the new Fortnite season. It was crazy, man. They were mad addicted to that shit. And in this video, I'll be talking about the best childhood games I had growing up. Because with the recent release of the Switch 2 and the fact that PS5 has been out for a couple of years now, I'll be so real with you lot. Games just aren't as hard as they used to go back in the day. Nowadays, I just don't be gaming as much as I used to be. I mean, the world of battle royales and battle passes have low-key cooked the gaming industry. And the fact that most titles got a starting price point of £70 is cooked, fam, I'ma be honest. But nonetheless, a lot of games got my heart for real. And without further yapping, let's get straight into it. And we start with what I think is one of the most greatest titles of all time, Rayman Origins. Throughout my whole childhood, from Rayman 2 all the way to Rayman Legends, these games have resonated differently to me. The Rayman series has to be one of the most underrated series of all time. This shit was so peak, man. I remember when my dad caught me and my siblings a 3DS and got us Rayman 2 on it. And when I tell you, I was rinsing that game out heavy when I was a kid, man. But the same love I had for Rayman 2 just didn't compare at all to how peak Rayman Origins was. When I first played this game alongside my cousins, I kid you not, I probably milked this game out for weeks, man. I'm telling you, this was a generational title. Sure, the game doesn't necessarily have a cold story. It's a game meant for kids, what do you expect? But the gameplay in this game is for all ages, bro. I'm talking about you can be 60 and enjoy it, fam. I swear down. From the power-ups you get along the game, to the speedrun you do in the treasure chest levels, to the sick boss fights and chase sequences you would do, this game was different for its time, man. Not to mention, the fairies were fine as hell in this game, you feel me? Rayman Origins is one of the peakest games I got to play as a kid, and it was perfect for the family. You could have up to 4 players so you could share with your siblings and your parents. But let me be honest with you, man, right here. Every time one of my family members tried to jump out with me on any multiplayer game, I was not letting them come onto the game, man. I used to take out the batteries out of the other controllers we had, so if certain people tried to jump out with me, I could convince them that they were playing as the only character on screen when it was really me. I was a conniving guy when I was younger. It was crazy, man. But don't look at me crazy, because I know some of you might used to be doing that as well, bro. Don't lie. But Rayman Origins is genuinely a classic and was one of the best games I had growing up. And it is 100 times better than Rayman Legends. But don't get it twisted, Rayman Legends is tough as well. The music levels in that game were hitting. But besides that, Rayman Origins clears it, bro. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Going on to my next childhood games, we gotta speak about some of the best ones that I used to be playing on mobile, bro. I'm talking about games like Subway Surfers, Fruit Ninja, Flappy Bird, Hungry Shark, Angry Birds, and many, many more. But specifically, I'm gonna be talking about Temple Run, because Temple Run, hands down, is one of the best games to ever exist. I'm telling you. Every day when I finished primary school and I started walking home with my mom, I would just snatch her phone and straight up be banging this game out. Every time we went to a family outing on the way to the function, I'm playing Temple Run. When she used to make munch at home and I couldn't watch TV, I'm playing Temple Run. When she would argue and bicker with other women, guess what? I was still playing Temple Run. Mobile games were such a big thing I had growing up because they were literally free and most of them were gems, man. A lot of these games were also alternatives to their console counterparts. Like if you couldn't play GTA 5 when you were a kid, you had Gangster Vegas on mobile. If you couldn't play Call of Duty, you had Pixel Gun. If you couldn't play the Spider-Man games on console, you could just play Spider-Man Unlimited. Mobile games were such an easy and great way to break into gaming. And when I was younger, for a long time, I used to be rinsing these games out often as hell. Sometimes more than the ones I had on console. I keep it a buck with you. Like the chokehold games like Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG, and Pokemon Go had on the world, some of these titles were doing just as good as console games, which is crazy to even think about. But mobile games were so peak to be a part of growing up. And for those of my people who didn't have a console and started their gaming journeys on phone, I'm gonna give you, man, a round of applause, because these games were peak, man. I'm telling you. Nintendo games were also a big part of my life. With me starting on the Wii, I got to be able to play a lot of Nintendo games when I was a kid. Games like Wii Sports, Punch Out, Donkey Kong, the Michael Jackson Experience, and Mario Kart. But my favorite out of all of the titles on Wii was Super Smash Bros, bro. Smash Bros is hands down one of the best franchises to ever exist on this planet, and I got the privilege to start on the best Smash Bros game of all time, Super Smash Flash 2, because that game was golden. You mean to tell me you had characters like Mario and Sonic alongside people like Goku and Ichigo? It's all I ever wanted, bro, I'm telling you. But Smash Bros, bro, was the start to my connection to Smash Bros, especially with how great the story is to this game. Subspace Emissary is a national treasure. It's an unmatched story, bro. It was dedicated to showcasing and let you play most of the roster at least once. You could scrap bosses like Rayquaza, and it had tough cutscenes between fights. This game was so ahead of its time, and Smash should have replicated a story like this in their future games, but they didn't. The story in World of Light is absolute garbage. All you do is run around collecting spirits and fighting trash-ass NPCs. It was low-key a disappointment. Besides the boss fights, the cutscenes, and some of the spirits, the game was embarrassingly horrible. It wasn't here like Subspace Emissary. But Ultimate was also was still a tough game. They brought everybody in and they even added characters a lot of people wanted to see in Smash Bros. Like Sora, Steve, Joker, and Banjo and Kazooie. But the one thing I hate about the DLC roster was how arse characters like Min Min made it into the roster. How's that even possible, bro? Arms look straight up like an arse game. This shit looks tragic and Min Min was horrible. They definitely just paid Sakurai a bunch of money so they could get into Smash Bros. But justice for my Waluigi fans. I know they were crying when they saw this. He should have been added into Smash instead of Min Min alongside my GOAT Shadow the Hedgehog. I don't understand how there's only one Sonic character, but we got useless Echo Fighters nobody plays, and we got 8 Fire Emblem characters. I know the bag some of these might be paying Sakurai must be heavy. Marth, Roy, and Ike are the only good Fire Emblem characters. Everybody else, trash. Robin, trash. Corrin, trash. Get them out the game, man. What are they still doing here? For real shit, justice to my boy Shadow the Hedgehog. That's the #1 guy I think should be in Smash Bros, I swear. But Smash Bros was the pioneer of fighting games when I was growing up. To this day, people still compete in Smash tournaments playing games like Melee, which came out in 2001. That shit is almost 24 years old. But that just shows the different level of chokehold Smash Bros has to the community. It brought people together. It was a family game meant for you to play with your brothers and sisters and sometimes your friends. And also so you could rage quit and possibly break your controller. This game was for everyone. Another franchise that was for everyone were Mario games. Aside from the usual mainline titles where it's the normal platformer, you had other Mario games to cater to your other interests. You like golf? We had Mario Golf. You like football? We had Mario Strikers. You like painting? We had Mario Paint. And the list goes on from here. But the usual Mario games is where I was at. And I think Mario gotta be one of the most consistent games of all time. I mean, it's the same thing every game. Bowser on his weird shit kidnapping Princess Peach, and you run your ass across at least 2 to 8 walls to go save her just to get a kiss on the cheek. What the hell, man? Did you know what I went through to get to you and all you gave me was a kiss on the cheek? Are you crazy? You know how much I sacrificed? But mainline titles were a big part of my life, especially Super Mario Bros. Wii, because that was hands down the best one. Like in this version, you could turn into a penguin. And who doesn't want to turn into a penguin? It's a penguin, man. And there was a helicopter mushroom turning you into a helicopter man. Then you fly in the game, which literally made Yoshi redundant. RIP to Yoshi, bro. I used to be sacrificing this guy every 5 seconds. But I loved this game growing up. And ever since that game, I just played a bunch of Mario later on. Like the Mario game I had after that was 3D Land on the 3DS. And my god, was this game absolutely incredible. Everything from the levels to the power-ups to finessing Bowser at the end, for there to be more post-game content letting you play as Luigi was straight up class. This game was a 10 out of 10, fam. But most Mario games are really just a hit anyway. And it's just a clear franchise in general. Like I couldn't tell you a bad Mario game even if I tried. It's crazy, man. But Mario games were great growing up and were a core part of a lot of people's childhood memories. Going on to my next childhood games, we have to talk about some anime games because they were fire. Games like Raging Blast, the Storm series, Budokai Tenkaichi, Inokami Chronicles. But the best anime game hands down are the Xenoverse games, my people. And there's one clear answer as to why. You can make your own character. This is everything any anime fan wanted. You mean to tell me I could make my own character, my own Saiyan, and he could go Super Saiyan? What are we talking about here? Just shut up and take my money. This game was so clear because of that, bro. I'm telling you, the Xenoverse games had to be some of the best games to ever exist. Not only because you can make your own character, but just the whole game in itself. You could play throughout the whole Dragon Ball Z story, scrapping people like Frieza, Cell, Buu, Broly, Beerus, Jiren, and many more. This game was elite. I couldn't tell you how gassed I was when I got Xenoverse. I started banging out this game differently. I at least maxed out every race in the game once and got all their transformations. Like if I was to log onto my PlayStation right now, you'd probably see 1,000 hours with me having a whole crazy moveset with Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. I was a banger at this game, man, low key. Everything about the Xenoverse games was elite, from the character creation to the story to the parallel quests to the teachers and moves. But my god, were there some difficult ass missions in this game, like the one where you have to fight Cooler and Frieza alongside Namek Saga Goku. And this fight was one of the hardest fights in the game. They used to be jumping and whooping my ass while NPC Goku would just be spamming Kamehameha and running around the place. This guy was useless, man. But the Xenoverse games were hype as hell and were some of the best moments I had in my childhood. And comparing it to anime games now are shit, man. Storm Connections, garbage. The Bleach game, garbage. The random ass other anime games like 7 Deadly Sins, Fairy Tail, and Black Clover, garbage. And Sparking Zero died so quickly. Everybody was on the hype of that shit when they were out here making Sonic Sway edits on TikTok. But now, nobody even plays that game no more. That shit is so ass, bro. Bandai Namco just need to hurry up and make Xenoverse free. I'm tired of this, man. Always updating Xenoverse 2, acting like we don't want a Xenoverse free. Hurry up and make the game, man. And now, we're gonna talk about the greatest game character of all time. I'm talking about he's a pioneer to what I think is the greatest childhood franchise of all time, and still isn't touched to this day by certain other titles. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Sonic the Hedgehog. And I just want to let you man know, I am a hardcore Sonic Glazer fan. But what I'm gonna say in this video is just facts. Sonic by far had a point in this time where he was carrying some of the best games of all time on his back. I'm not gonna lie to you. Sure, being a Sonic fan in the 2010s was a dark time for all of us. but we had some of the greatest games of all time to come out of there. My first Sonic game was Sonic Generations, and this is what started my addiction to the franchise, bro. Everything from the high-speed gameplay to the cold-ass rival battles to the amazing cutscenes and boss fights, everything about this game was peak. And after I played this, I went and played every single Sonic game. And truth be told, I don't think 06 was that horrible. Hear me out. Let me explain. As a wise man once said, and I quote, if you ignore the bad things, there's only good things. And I can't overlook how horrible and absolutely horrific some of the glitches and gameplay was in Sonic 06. I'm not trying to put that down. And the whole moment where Elise thinks it's okay to start cross-species contact in the game, we should have called RSPCA Sega for that. What the hell was that writing? But some of the moments in 06 are some of the most hype in this series. Things like Silver's introduction to the franchise, Shadow's character development, Sonic's quotes and speeches to Elise, the character designs and the cutscenes. These things were definitely where all the budget went and made this game a cinematic masterpiece. Not to mention, Mephiles was that guy. Mephiles is one of the coldest villains in Sonic, period. He's still the only one canonically to have murdered Sonic. And Eggman been trying to do that shit for 50 years and my man did it in one day. Eggman, you suck, fam. But let's be honest, the glitches and gameplay in Sonic 06 were absolutely horrific. I don't blame anyone for saying this is one of the worst games of all time. All this shit was rushed and barely playable. But if they took their time, took the part with Elise kissing Sonic and fixed up the gameplay, it would have probably been one of the best Sonic games of all time. But Sonic fans as a collective know, Sonic Unleashed is one of the best Sonic games of all time. Everything about this game was amazing, 10 out of 10. The gameplay, the story, the werehog, Chip, the quick time events, everything was amazing about this game. This was a childhood treasure and is definitely up in the top 3 Sonic games of all time, no doubt about it. But unfortunately, I didn't play Sonic Unleashed when I was a kid. I'm sorry, bro. I missed out on it. However, somebody ported it to PC, and as soon as I saw that, I banged this game out differently, and I can confidently say I understand it now. This game is amazing. But the couple Sonic games that had me going crazy when I was younger were the Wii games, especially Sonic and the Black Knight. This game was hype. Sega went crazy with this one. Sonic was aura farming this entire game. You mean to tell me you gave this man Excalibur on his hip? How did Sega manage to make this guy cooler than he already was, bro? This game was the pinnacle of peak I had growing up. The gameplay, the story, the animated cutscenes, the 1v1s you would do against Shadow, Knuckles, and Blaze, the final boss fight against Melina and you go into a Super Knight form. And this shit was crazy. Oh my days, I actually loved this game, bro. Shit was amazing. The Sonic Riders games had me gassed as well. They gave this game an animated cutscene looking like a whole anime. And the games were fire. And the Babylon Rogues went crazy. Jet the Hawk is one of the best Sonic rivals ever, bro. I was really into a lot of Sonic growing up. From playing the Flash games, to being there for the whole creepypasta phase, to watching Sonic Paradox and fan films like The Wrath of Nazo by my GOAT Chakra X, elite ball knowledge if you've seen that. But Sonic was a huge part of my childhood. I mean, I would try to never miss an episode of Sonic X and just thought this guy was one of the most toughest characters I've ever seen. And the games are just mad hype, from the stories to the characters to the music, the transformations and the boss fights. It was just too clear. And I can sit here and tell you, man, about every peak Sonic game I've ever played and how they're all amazing. But I'll leave that for another time. Maybe dedicate a video to it if you man enjoy this one enough. But in short, Sonic is the greatest character ever. Sonic for Prime Minister, Sonic for King of England, Sonic for President of the world. We all love Sonic, fam. But these were some of the craziest childhood games I had growing up. If you man got any different ones or any I haven't mentioned that you had going mad as a kid for, let me see them in the comments below. And my people, thank you. Thank you for 10,000 of you. A couple of months ago, I thought this goal wasn't possible. But with the crazy emotion I've been having recently, I just gotta thank every single one of you. And I appreciate all the love I've been getting. We're gonna get to 100K by the end of the year, believe it. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a blessed day and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.